From Azelda's Legacy. This is Larry, and I am in the chicken house. So I could say from the chicken house on Azelda's Legacy. But at any rate, I have a couple of things to show you. There's our little flock out there enjoying their morning scraps. Yes, we have to wipe our face off because it gets messy and we don't have napkins. My granddaughter would have said they don't have hands, so they can't use a napkin to wipe their face. Well, I've been out here once already this morning and had taken in 3 eggs. And there is a 4th beautiful egg just since I've been out here the last time. So that's lovely, and I'll just gently slip it into a pocket here where it can ride till I get back to the house. But this isn't what I want to show you. We have increased the flock, if you will. Nope, there's not more chickens. As a side note to explain what's going on. Yesterday, Charlie, for the first time, found what we find a few of every summer. And I'm going to see if I can get focused in on this. Yesterday was the first, it's not going to show very clearly, but that is the first tick of the season. And then we have had just a few ants all winter long. Not as many as we had in the camper, but I think we brought them over in one plant. But this tick is what was concerning us. Now, obviously, we're not going to let chickens in the house, but we had hoped that they would help to cut down on the tick population out here. And I think they have. They've eaten bugs and helped some, but their primary function is laying eggs. They'll forage, they'll take care of a lot of little weeds for us, but they also all get in the garden. So this year my garden, the stuff they like especially, is going to be a little more raised. So the other thing that happened yesterday that increased the flock is these goofy looking babies. I'm not going to get too up close because they are not yet settled in and comfortable. But for anybody that hasn't ever seen it before, them are guineas. I'm not too sure, but what every one of them I've got is a male. But since I didn't get them primarily for reproduction, that's not a big deal. If one of them turns out to be a hen, that'll be alright. We might get a little bit better light on them somewhere. But they will, what we're told, what we read, is that they will eat bugs galore. Yeah, they're going to go to the opposite end from wherever I am. And I see they've knocked their ladder loose. But they will eat bugs like crazy. They love ticks, ants, just all those creepy crawly things, and they would rather forage than be fed. So they're low cost, low maintenance. They can be noisy. Right now they're not being too noisy, but when I came over they were sounding about like that chainsaw sound that I was reading about last night. They are a funny looking bird. But that is our addition to the flock today. I think I'm going to see if I can sneak a hand in here and fix this ramp that they've knocked loose without disturbing them too much. There you go, maybe that's a little better picture of them. They come from Africa, and in the 1500s, I guess they were brought into Europe. And then eventually, when people came over here and they colonized this country, they got brought over here. And their meat is supposed to be kind of like pheasant meat. and their feathers get used for fishing lures and artsy craftsy things. There's 6 or 7 different kinds of them, but these are the most common. There's some of them with real brilliant blue feathers, but this most common kind, that's what those feathers looks like. Almost looks like it's been painted on there. Anyway, that's what's new on Azelda's legacy today. Talking about our guineas in the earlier part of this video. I spoke about them preferring to be foraging rather than being fed. But we just got them yesterday, so we want them to get the idea that this is home, whether this coop specifically or over there in the chicken coop. In fact, one of them got away from me last night while I was putting bands on them, and eventually where it went, this one with the green band over here in the corner, this little guy, eventually where it went was into the chicken coop because there was light and they've been used to being kept with chickens. Now I'm not going to try to handle them because they really don't like that, but what I am going to do is put a little handful of dead bugs in there. They would probably prefer to catch them live, but hey, while they are still kenneled up, so to speak, still being kept in a coop until they're used to the place, they'll still like to have their bugs. So since I had some bugs from an area that I knew we had not sprayed anything at all, we're very cautious about what we do spray. Since I had a little handful of bugs, I thought I would just scoop them into my hand and bring them out here. And we're not terribly happy, but they'll get settled in. So I'm going to go see if I have any new eggs, so I will go over here. Yeah, it kept pacing back and forth and wanting in here, so I opened the door up and just let it in, and it hopped right in to see about the chickens. Oh, here's another interesting deal. Honeybees. There isn't enough out there blooming yet, and so they're looking for something, and they will get some things out of the chicken feed that will substitute for pollen until they can get some pollen. Chickens don't eat them. They don't seem to be bothering the chickens too much, if at all. And if I just move slowly and quietly, they don't bother me any. Now, as I understand it, the guineas will eat wasps and stuff, so they may actually go after the honeybees. But for right now, well, we want the honeybees around, and obviously we got to have chicken feed. So, we're just going to kind of cohabitate here. Not get into any big bad battles with them. We're just going to let them enjoy a little bit of chicken feed, and we'll enjoy them pollinating our stuff a little later on. So here's Fancy. There's a couple eggs sitting there. That blue one is just a dummy egg. Now here's Fancy. She likes to sit on a nest all day long. I think she might go broody for me if I gave her some actual eggs that I wanted sat on, but right now she's sitting on at least 3 real eggs, and she's a little bit like the guineas. She really doesn't like being handled, but I have made it a point to pet her a little each and every evening so that I can get her settled down a little bit. I don't think the guineas will ever settle. Now, she's never going to be quite as friendly as those Isa Browns, but then these guys probably aren't either. I don't know if those are... Whoop. Yeah, she's not too friendly to anybody. She's called Bricktop, and for a reason. Bricktop was a red-headed character that was in a women's prison in one of Louis L'Amour's books, and I think maybe was from an actual historical figure. But old Bricktop, she's kind of bossy. She kind of runs the flock. And so she's not terribly, she doesn't get mean towards us people, but she's kind of bossy when it comes to the other chickens. And so I've had to trim her beak back a little bit and make sure she isn't pecking too hard at anybody. Looks like it's about to need trimmed again. And then those black ones are astrolabes. They're not unfriendly, either batch of them. They're not unfriendly, they're just not as friendly as those Isa Browns. But they'll live longer and be healthier chickens than the Isa Browns. And I don't know what Fancy is. She's a bearded chicken, but I don't know quite what breed she seems to almost be a mix of stuff. So anyway, enough about the chickens. And there's the extra box when I get ready to move the guineas on into here. Then I'll open that box up, take the cardboard off in the front of it, and I'll just settle them around that nest box one night when it's already dark in here. And the next morning we'll see whether we have a ruckus or what. So, anyway, that's all for now. So, I think Bricktop wants to have the last word. So, like, subscribe, comment, share, all those good things. And for now, bye-bye and God bless from Azelda's Legacy.